Welcome back. It is a child custody battle getting national attention. A California Court of Appeals now issuing an order allowing a woman to keep a girl that she has been trying to adopt rather than returning the girl to her father in Ohio, biological father. That's the important part. Stacy Doss has been fighting for a year and a half to adopt 2-year-old Vanessa. There she is, adorable little girl. But the girl's biological father is also fighting to keep her after getting out of the slammer. Where should the child end up? It's time for a fair and balanced debate. Joining us now, Fox News legal analyst Bob Massi, former prosecutor and defense attorney Keisha Hebben. Keisha, let me start with you. This is a father who has a track record of domestic violence, and I underscore the word violence, right, drug possession, and child endangerment. My goodness, how could any judge allow him to be near his biological daughter?
Well, Greg, let's first point out that the standard in child custody cases is what's in the best interest of the child. But we also have to remember that the biological parents' parental rights cannot automatically be terminated. He will have first choice, but after a judge determines whether it's in the best interest of that child. Now, before we look at his criminal history or the fact that he was in prison, the courts will probably look at the fact that, okay, let's see what can this father do to correct any problems that he has before we just terminate his parental rights. So it is going to be a process. It's not going to happen automatically because of his criminal background.
You know, Bob, I mean, it seems like a no-brainer. This guy appears to be a dangerous person, and yet, you know, people change their lives and rehabilitate themselves. What say you?
It's not a no-brainer because of the biological, as you said in your opening. You and I both know Supreme Court has held the step-parents don't necessarily have no rights whatsoever. There's a lot of issues that the court looks to, just like she just said. It's to the best interest. This is going to come down, as you know, Greg, to evidentiary hearings, evidence that has to be brought before the court to determine what's in the best interest of the child. What really offends me in this is here you have a guy who has this violent background. All of a sudden he had an epiphany and he wants to have a relationship with his child and custodial rights. You know, he could ultimately get some type of visitation rights, supervised, and sort of work into something, but to come out and say immediately that he should have custodial rights, the biological thing's tough, but as she said, best interest will prevail.
You know, Keisha, as a lawyer, I always used to question the motives of people here. And this guy, and I'm questioning his motive here. I mean, he has no relationship with his 4 other children.
Right.
So why is he all of a sudden, you know, want to be nominated for, you know, Dad of the Year? I suspect he wants some money out of this thing.
You know, Greg, I've wondered the same thing. The only thing I can say in his defense as a defense attorney and doing family law, maybe he didn't know about this whole situation. There are situations where the parent, the biological parent, finds out after the fact that the child is even their child. So maybe it's not that he's just coming out or resurfacing at this point. He didn't find out until now. But I do wonder what's his motive. So I see what you're saying.
You know, Bob, the thing, though, that does bother me, and I know I'm going to sound like I'm siding with the father here, is that, you know, do we start making value judgments? Do courts and judges do that to say, well, the best interest of the child is whoever has the most money, whoever can provide the best, you know, home, and so forth? You know what I mean?
Toughest job in the country, I think, is a family court judge, because they have to be able to have discernment, they have to look to experts to give opinions, and they have to ultimately decide, is this going to be a safe environment for a child? Everybody has a right to be rehabilitated, everybody has a right to be forgiven, but the question ultimately is, when push comes to shove, will this be a safe environment for that baby? And that's what these courts have to determine.
Well said. Keisha Hebben, Bob Massi, thank you both for being with us.
Thank you, Greg.
Thanks so much.
Always good to see you, Greg. Thank you, man.